We have a pretty busy week this week with things going on here at our house that we're living in, our rental home in town, and at our build site. If you're new here, we are building our home that is going to be on our farm that we purchased several years ago, and we are hoping that this next move will be the last move that we have to make. If you are fresh out of a move or have moved before, you know how daunting of a task that can be. And we moved into this little cute rental home about 6 months ago, actually. And so moving is still fresh in my mind, and I'm starting to think about how it is going to be time to be doing that again rather soon. Now, the exact date, I don't know, because we are building, and I don't know if it's any different if you have a general contractor, but we are doing like the general contracting ourselves. And so there's nobody that's giving us any type of estimates or anything. My husband has done a lot of work on the home, and you guys are going to see a lot of updates coming up and kind of talk through how the build's been going and all of that here in this video later on. But we are now at the point where I think we have one more contractor that's going to be helping whenever we install our hardwood floors. But past that, it's going to be a one-man show from here on out, which is my husband. And so he's been very involved. There's been a lot going on. And so with that, I was just actually telling him this morning, I'm like, I can't wait till we're not living this like double life in two places. It feels like we spend half of our time at our house and the other half at the farm. And most of the time we're kind of dividing and conquering when we're doing these different tasks that have to get done at the build site, because a build site is no place for toddlers or babies. So most of the time he will take my older boys, sometimes my daughter, depending on what he's doing on that particular day, and I usually stay back with the babies. Now, I do go to the build site pretty often to check in, or if anything new happens, that will be something that I'm excited to see. But he goes every single day with the older boys, and I usually am staying back with the youngers and preparing dinner for them for when they get home. It has definitely been a difficult season, but it's also been very fun and rewarding, especially now when we're seeing so much progress on the house. On this particular afternoon, I'm making up some burgers that will be for dinner later on. I'm making a special little sauce here that we'll top the burgers with, and some homemade buns. That's what I was mixing up earlier with my dough. And so that's just going to be a dinner, and like most nights, we eat in shifts. My younger ones might eat with me, which this is not normal for our family. Typically, we always ate dinner together as a family, but right now in this season, a lot of times I am eating with the little boys, and they are usually in bed before my husband and the older boys even get home. Now, there have been some projects at the house where we've all been involved, and that's usually when it's time to do cleaning. If you ever built before, you know that there are so many different stages and times when you need to get in there and really clean the house up in between different things. There's just so much trash that comes along with building. There's a lot of sawdust from things being cut, wires from electric. It's just a nonstop job. And so usually if it's a night where we need to clean, we all go to the farm and we all just kind of divide up different things that need to be done and put different kids on different tasks, and we all work together in getting done what needs to get done. To go along with our burgers tonight, I'm frying up a bunch of potatoes, and I'm just doing that in a Dutch oven with some lard, and then I'll just top them with some salt, My buns have been rising, so now I'm just gonna put an egg wash on top. You guys know that I love making homemade, healthy meals from scratch for my family, and I am actually planning to do a video coming out here pretty soon. I get lots of questions about cooking from scratch, where I talk about some like different tips and things that I do to make it possible to make 3 meals a day from scratch. So if that has been a question of yours, be sure to keep on a lookout for that video coming soon. I also like to make my own laundry soap and cleaning products to cut down on toxins entering my home. This has been something that's been really important to me in a process that I've been working on for over a decade. Really, this is why I was inspired to start my blog and YouTube channel in the first place. I wanted a place to share my recipes and research with others. As a mom, I keep things simple and easy because, just like many of you, I don't have a lot of extra time and money to waste on unnecessary things. So if you have been trying to make the switch to a healthier home, you can check out my recipes on my blog, ouroilyhouse.com. That is where I share all of my homemade cleaners and laundry soaps and lots of the different things that you see me making here on my YouTube channel. Now, while on the topic of non-toxic, I want to talk about the cookware that I use, because obviously I don't want to waste my time using these organic, locally sourced food and cooking from scratch and then preparing it all in a toxic pan. And that's why I'm excited to tell you guys about today's video sponsor, Caraway. Caraway is a non-toxic cookware brand that offers high quality kitchen essentials. We have been using Caraway in our home for almost 2 years now, and I really love the way the pan looks, and I love that they're safe for the whole family. Caraway's cookware is made of ceramic. It's all natural and totally free of toxins, and I don't have to worry about myself or my family being exposed to the toxins that can be found in pans made with Teflon. When we think about how often we use our pots and pans, like 3 or 4 times a day, if you're anything like me, it's so important to make sure that we're choosing a safe and healthy option. Caraway's pans use a ceramic coating, which is a naturally slick surface and 100% non-toxic. That means that you can use minimal oil or butter and get those slide off the pan eggs, and also makes cleaning up so much easier, which is a huge bonus for me. Caraway's holiday sale is going on right now, and it's their biggest sale of the entire year. And I have an exclusive offer. These make an amazing gift for anyone on your list. If you're already thinking about your holiday shopping, be sure to check out the Caraway pans and be sure to grab one for yourself too. It can make your holiday season so much less stressful to have a big functional cookware for all of your holiday cooking. And here's a little insider secret: they are not going to be running a like extra special Black Friday or Christmas sale or anything. So now is truly the best time to get your Caraway pans. I'd recommend getting the cookware set like I did. It comes with the saute pan, fry pan, Dutch oven, and saucepan, plus lids for all of them, a lid holder, and a magnetic pan rack for storage. This saves you 20% versus buying them individually. Caraway is offering their biggest sale of the year right now, and you can save up to 20% site-wide, and with my code INF-oily, you will also get a free Raza Frizzle spray on all orders, which is exclusive to my audience. So you can use my QR code here on the screen or click on my link down in my description box below. All right, so speaking of my blog and all of my different recipes, I'm actually doing a recipe testing for my blog today with a new soap bar. This is a pine tar soap bar. I am testing this because I love making homemade gifts for Christmas, and I think this would be a really fun soap bar to add in, especially if you're making it for a man. It has a very manly scent to it. And so this is one that I'm going to be testing, and if it all works out well, it'll be going up on my blog here in a couple of weeks. If you never made soap, it's actually quite easy. It's definitely scary at first if you've never made it before, because you have to deal with products that are dangerous like lye. But if you wear the proper safety equipment or gear, I guess, just gloves and some long sleeves and some goggles, it's actually very safe to make. I like to do it in a spot where I have lots of ventilation, when the kids aren't around. You'll notice I don't ever have my baby around when I'm making soap. And then I mix in all of the oils, and in this case I'm adding in some pine tar, and you basically let everything melt and then cool down, and then you mix together your fats, whatever you used for that particular bar, with your lye and water. And then you have to use an immersion blender to bring it to trace, which basically just means you're mixing it up until everything is completely mixed together well, and that's whenever the lye is no longer dangerous for the skin or for touching. And then I pour it into a mold, and I will let it cure in the mold for 24 to 48 hours, and then it's ready to cut, and then it will have to cure for another 6 to 8 weeks depending on the type of soap you're making before it's ready to actually use. So that was just kind of a basic rundown how soap making works, but if you want more details on that, like I said, all of those different recipes are over on my blog. All right, so a big thing that's been happening over at the house is adding in all the installation. This was a very big job that my husband and my kids took on. My husband also enlisted his dad and his brother to help him with this. It actually took even longer than he expected, but this is a big step because that means that everything behind the walls, like HVAC and plumbing and electrical, is all finished. And then as soon as we got that insulation in, we called the person that was doing our drywall. My husband decided he did not want to do drywall on his own. He does know how to do drywall, and he has done it in the past, but it is one of those things, if it's not done very, very well, it can like bulge out. And so this was a spot where he decided to enlist a professional. And so we are now completely drywalled, and I am getting paint samples and testing them, and painting is going to be starting here in the next week or so. The drywall stage right now, whenever you're seeing this, still has to be sanded and mudded one more time, and so that's going to take a few more days. So then the very next thing will be paint, and you see a bunch of samples here. I actually went on Pinterest and I picked out a color palette for a whole house, like whole house color palette. That's kind of was my idea of what I wanted to do, because I didn't really know exactly what colors to pair together to make it all match. My sister actually suggested looking up a whole house palette, so I found one that I loved, and those are several of the colors in them. But I am planning on painting my kitchen cabinets and possibly my beadboard, still not decided, a sage green. So I got several different samples of sage green to decide which one I want to use for that. I am making one of our favorites for all of fall and winter, and that's homemade marshmallows and hot chocolate. So while I work on this, I want to continue to kind of talk about the progress and things with our house build. So far, I would say that our house build is going as smooth as it possibly can go. I know a lot of people that have built, and I know that my sisters, two of them, one just finished building and one is also in the middle of building at the exact same time. And so I have heard lots of stories about building, and I know how things can go. And I feel like ours is going literally as smooth as it possibly could go. And it's also moving very quickly, kind of faster than I even expected. We broke ground on July 10th was our official day that the first shovel went in the ground. And we are already at the drywall stage, which part of me, it looks as if the house is like almost done. Like it feels like, oh my gosh, we're like there. The outside looks complete. We have drywall on the inside. We're talking about paint colors. But then I kind of think that maybe drywall is just like halfway because there's so much more that has to be done. And as I mentioned before, my husband is kind of taking over at this point. He's going to be the one doing all the finishing trim and hanging all the doors. He is doing all the painting. He's going to be designing the kitchen and putting in the cabinets. And so after this part, there will be no more help from anybody else. Now that's our own decision. We are really trying to keep this budget friendly and within a very strict budget that we have, and it is looking as if we're going to be able to do that. I know that at any time something huge can come up and put a whole wrench in the whole budget plan, but that's going to be something that I want to talk about later on, is kind of what we did to stay in budget and just all of that, but that'll have to be for a later on video. But currently, that is kind of the main reason why we are doing so much of the work ourselves, and my husband really loves doing it. I think he takes a lot of pride and joy in having a hand on his own home and just kind of doing stuff. He's kind of always been that way. And so it's been quite the process, and I'm really excited to kind of keep bringing you along because now all the fun stuff's going to be happening, where we are actually going to be painting and getting floors in and really just starting to turn this house into a home. All right, just as a reminder, don't forget to check out Caraway. They are offering their biggest sale of the year right now, so you can save up to 20% off site-wide, and you will also be able to get a free Graza Frizzle Spray on all orders. So I said it's exclusive to my audience, so be sure to check out that link, and I have my code and everything down in my description box below. And as always, thank you so much for watching my video, and I'll see you guys all next week.